The garden is beginning to stir, and today it begins with strawberries. Welcome to PDX Garden Home. Here in Portland, Oregon, the days are stretching out and the work is starting to pick up with the emerging season. Today, I'm working with a new arrival, some strawberry plants from a local nursery, ready to be settled into their place and begin what I hope will be a generous season ahead. Along the way, there are a few smaller tasks to tend to, like potting up ranunculus, checking in on the progress of the garden wall, and giving one of the beds its first proper watering of the year. It's a mix of small jobs, all moving the garden forward. So come along and let's garden. Well, here I have various pots that I am going to use. Buckets maybe instead of pots. Is it too presumptuous to call them pots? I'm going to use these for planting strawberry plants. I got strawberry plants from a local nursery here in the Portland area, pretty well known. It's called the Portland Nursery. They've got a couple locations, and I picked up my strawberry plants a couple weeks ago. I've just had them sitting ready to plant out, and I need to get them planted out. Unfortunately, with this east side still under construction for the season, essentially, I don't have enough room to put the strawberries in a bed of their own yet. So I'm gonna try to put one plant per bucket and hope that that works out and I get some yield. I wanna get a lot of strawberries this year if I can. My 3-year-old, for one thing, loves them, but strawberries, I would say, are my favorite berry for sure. These buckets, pots, I want to call them pots at some point, but I revert to buckets because where they came from is my wife has a small business that does ice cream catering, ice cream sandwich catering, named after our daughter. It's called Maddie's Ice Cream Sandwiches. And in doing that business, she uses Tillamook ice cream for the ice cream sandwiches, and she buys Tillamook ice cream by the 3-gallon bucket. And so I've been taking the buckets and experimenting with different ways to repurpose them into my garden buckets, into my garden pots. And so I've tried some different kinds of paint, latex paint, acrylic paints, textured paint, non-textured paint, and trying different kinds of colors. I've just been having a lot of fun with it. And I tried a little bit of last year, so you might see pictures in my garden where you see buckets with paint peeling off of it because I didn't quite get it right last year. So I've got several buckets around that the paint's already coming off. But I think this year I've done some work to fix that with using the right primers and using the right finishing and all that kind of stuff. But enough on that. I could do a whole video on just what I'm doing with buckets, but this is gardening, and I think that you all would rather hear more about what's going on in the garden. So I just wanted to show you what I'm about to put the strawberries into, and now let's take these over to the potting bench and let's pot up the strawberries. Okay, to the ground where it could collect other kinds of goodness like microbes and worms and stuff like that. And actually, I'm not done yet, but I'm not going to, this poor bucket's just peeling everywhere. I'm not going to fill this all the way full yet. I'll put my strawberry plant in first and then kind of fill around it, I think, is what my strategy will be. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so here is the strawberry plant I got from Portland Nursery. This is Seascape, which is an ever-bearing strawberry. Ever-bearing strawberries then are supposed to produce a few strawberries here and there throughout the whole garden season is the idea, versus June-bearing strawberries, which will produce a lot of strawberries in the June time frame. I got some of both so that I could work with both. So there are several plants in here, and when I take this out, you'll see that. I'm just going to dump it here. There we go. Okay. So as I separate these out, you'll see, okay, a couple of them are already flowering here, so I want to be But there we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's exciting. Got more than 3. Okay. Now I don't want to cover the crown of the strawberry here, so I want to get enough soil in here. So I saw, like, after I put the soil that was in that pot in here, I'm gonna put some more in to get this closer to the top. But actually, in terms of my pot, I don't really want the pot soil line to exceed too far the ring holes there. So it's not these pots, buckets, I'm not designing them so that they would necessarily be all the way full to the very tippy top. I'm just going to put a little bit in there, and then I'm going to make a hole for the, okay. Now let me, ooh, there is a worm. Wow, there's a couple worms actually in there. That's cool. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna plant another strawberry plant in this kind of warty terracotta bucket. This one I did, I was trying to experiment with textures, and I threw some sand in the paint that I brushed on. And so, yeah, that's why that looks warty like that. All right, I need to put some potting mix in here. Let's see if I can just dump the rest of this out here. Okay, I'll need to go get another pot of yeah, this potting mix that I get from Grimm's is pretty good. I don't know if it comes with worms already in it, but I find worms in it all the time. But usually that's after I've had them sitting in my garden in buckets or something, and there are holes in the bottom and stuff. So I don't know if the worms are getting into the nice potting mix because it's attractive to them from my garden, or if they actually come from Grimm's that way with all the worms in it. But either case, it speaks well of the potting soil that I get there. The potting mix, and then I also get compost for the garden beds there, and yeah, gravel. They got lots of great products, easy to work with. Okay, let's see. More soil. So you may wonder, maybe you don't wonder, but one might ask, why am I planting strawberry plants, potted up strawberry plants from the nursery instead of bare roots or some other propagation? So many of you probably already know this part, but I haven't really ever seen strawberry grown from seed. The only seeds I've seen have been for alpine strawberries, the super small ones that are often grown more for decoratives. I imagine you can at some point grow it from seed, but I'm not sure about that point. In any case, strawberries are typically, from what I understand, propagated from runners. And I know that they do propagate from runners. I mean, when I say from what I understand, I mean professionally, you know, in terms of the garden nursery world, how do they typically, how are strawberries propagated at an industrial scale? I think from runners, but in any case, in your own garden, in my own garden, when I had the big garden, strawberries would propagate from runners naturally. I had some kind of rogue runaway strawberries spanning a couple of different beds through the propagation of the runners. Anyway, I don't have any strawberries here. I could go get the strawberries from over there, and maybe I'd like to, but those strawberries were actually kind of carried over from years before, and I don't even know what variety they were. So I thought, you know, here in this new garden, since I otherwise have to, I may as well start fresh with my strawberry plants and know the varieties and choose what I want. So anyway, that's a long way of getting back to, I chose potted up strawberry plants to plant here, in part because that's one of the common ways you might do it, and then also because, not just because it's common or a typical way to do it, but also because I'm hoping it gives me a head start on actually having strawberries this season. We'll see if that's true or not, but that's the goal anyway. I'm thinking I might water this pot before I even put the strawberry in there, the strawberry plant in there, just because it's not super dry, but it's kind of dry. It hasn't been, this potting mix here sitting in this bucket hasn't been rained on for a few days. It's starting to get a little bit dry. Whew. Okay, it's about the fill of my bucket there. It's going to compact down when I put some water in it. Okie doke. Well, I've got to water. You know how I know? It's been a few days. I've got to water these trays every day at this point in the season. They just, for the most part, but I'm using the hose today because I've got to water the beds too. So how do I know that I got to water? Well, have you done I'm not very scientific about it. Have you done the finger test before? I've just kind of down to about there. First knuckle down to about there. I would stick it in there and be like, yeah, I gotta go down quite a bit more in order to feel dampness. Now, this bed actually has some dampness in it. I would say those over there, when I did it, the stock tanks, they actually have less moisture. This one has a little bit more, maybe because what I've got in there is more free draining, perhaps. And so, but in any case, it's okay to go ahead. It's okay and good to water. You do want to be careful about overwatering, but today would be watering just right. I mean, I could maybe get away with not watering until tomorrow, but I'm here anyway, so I may as well do it now. This time of year, I'm not putting a ton of water on it. I want to put a fair amount. I don't want to just surface water, but I'm also, hear people talk about deep watering in order to grow deep roots, and so the plant will learn to grow down and get the water. And I think that's all well and good. I mean, I think that makes sense, in particularly in your perennial plants. But you know, some of the stuff that we talk about, like how we set up the garden for very long term to do well, when you're talking about annuals, I don't quite understand. Like this spinach is going to be out of here in 30 days. So, you know, I'm not looking to cause it to have its roots go straight down and, you know, to the bottom of the stock tank by the end of the garden season kind of thing, right? So, you know, it's kind of, context matters with everything, right? Got a rhubarb that's always been there that's, I wasn't sure if it was going to survive all the redoing I did, but it's coming back. When I'm watering right there, that rhubarb, it's coming back on me. I just don't want it to shade out the rest of it because it kind of outgrew this area last time I had it here. So I'll just keep it trimmed back. It's my only rhubarb, so nice to have one in the garden. Okay, not a strawberry. This is a ranunculus plant that when I was getting strawberries at the Portland nursery, I couldn't resist, and it looked really nice, and it would still look really nice if I had potted it up soon enough. So I think that's the issue, because you know, it's getting dry very quickly. It's a small pot. There's a lot of flower going on there. So I am going to pot it up now. I've never grown ranunculus before, so I've heard I think they grow from, I think if I remember right what I've seen other places, they grow from corms. So I'd love to maybe do that next year. Okay, that's sitting taller than I want it to be, so I'm gonna put it like right over here for a second, and this guy here's struggling. Maybe what I'll do is I'll tether them together to give it a little support, hopefully. I just want to keep that guy from falling over so dramatically that it snaps the stem. Okay. Make some room in here. I feel like maybe I should go ahead and chop off some of these dead leaves, but I'm not sure. I don't want to hurt it right now. I don't want to bury the stem that's already above the line. I don't know much about caring for ranunculus, but as a general rule, I think that not burying your stems, unless it's something special like a tomato or something, you're doing that for some particular reason. I was going to say, as a general rule, burying your stems is probably not the greatest idea. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put a stake in there just so that these things don't have to rely on their own. And hopefully we'll find that. Okay, now I'm going to give this all some water. I'm going to tie that one up a little bit so it can. All right, the ranunculus is now placed in its new home, the orange one anyway. With the strawberries now in place, the season feels just a bit more real. There's still much to do, but for now, everything seems to be moving in the right direction. If you're also finding your way back into the garden, you're always welcome here. Thanks for gardening with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.